next radio.
Yes. And here?
I had a very interesting story of Dr. Vario Munsi, people trying to kufela him, but they found him steady.
He needs to share some of those stories.
There is no way you can be that height and you are unsteady. Charles.
Only steady.
Charles, are you steady?
I'm steady.
Do you have a story of Bafere phone calls?
No, they stopped.
They stopped?
Yes.
Give us one when they used to call, what they used to say.
Someone was procuring equipment for Kilembe or for KCCL, and then they would say they want me to supply.
Okay.
Through someone who they already have somewhere in...
That's very interesting. And when you begin the program, I'd like to hear the Bafere stories of Dr. Matembe. Those must be very interesting.
People trying to call Dr. Matembe. Those must have...
NBS Frontline. After a long while, President Museveni spent the greater part of Thursday afternoon in Kololo addressing Parliament on a wide range of issues. Even when his fishermen and women have been in the press for bad reasons, the country kept waiting for the president to lambast them publicly for the iron sheets, but to no avail. Instead, he warned those intending to steal the parish development model funds.
The attempted stealing of the PDM and the Myoga money in Acholi, and if they tampered with the money, they will pay for that treachery.
For those that attended, expectations could have been many, but on top of the agenda, the censured ministers, as they feel uncomfortable seeing them in the House. While his silence on many scandals like the NSSF, Lubowa Hospital, Naguru Land, that his cabinet is stuck in is too loud too. As he was addressing the House, the opposition MPs were away, perhaps sipping away at a hot coffee, citing incompetence, stinking corruption, and human rights violations by the regime. So, we ask, did the president address the critical concerns of the citizenry?
He missed out talking about the issues of the iron sheets.
The president cannot miss a point. When all the ministers who are involved in scandals were in front of him,
you'd see they are yearning for corruption-related address.
But the president has not pronounced himself on the matter of iron sheets.
But to the opposition MPs, what would be their analysis if they were not on the venue to oppose his stance in real time? This is The Frontline.
A very good evening and welcome to this edition of the NBS Frontline. My name is Charles Mwangushampagi. Did the president deliver a speech on issues of national concern? What is the definition of those issues of national concern? What did he say? What didn't he say? What should he have said? That's what we'll be discussing tonight. Let me introduce the guests and the panel that I have. The full panel of the NBS Frontline is present, and I'll start with them. Starting with Ofono Opondo. He is the Executive Director at the Uganda Media Center and the Frontline.
For those of us who were in Makerere in the 80s, Uncle George Keuguru lost his wife this morning. I commiserate with the family.
With the family. Yeah, friends Geoffrey and the other children. It's been making rounds on social media, but she's fought a battle, and yeah. Let me introduce the Honorable Winnie Kiza, former leader of opposition, former member of parliament for Kasese District, and a senior leader within the Alliance for National Transformation and a member of the NBS Frontline, a frontliner.
Thank you, Charles, and good evening, viewers.
Sir.
Thank you, Charles.
From Chinchizi East constituency, representing Western Uganda on the Central Executive Committee of the National Resistance Movement, Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Baryomuze. Very nice to have you, sir.
Thank you very much, Charles. Good evening, fellow panelists, and good evening, viewers. I'm happy to be back here.
Senior citizen, Dr. Maria Koburunga Matembe. Very nice to have you.
Thank you very much. I'm actually also very sad because last week we lost my uncle, Justice Kakulu. And then today, Aunt Joyce Chihuguru. And then, of course, in the afternoon, then I learned I lost the aunt to one of my daughter-in-law.
Oh.
So it's quite tough. I want to express my sympathies to the Chihugurus mainly. And all those relatives of mine. But I'm happy to be here this evening, to be part of the whatever debate it is.
To all those Ugandans who are bereaved in one or the other, we extend our condolences to you, and those who are hurting in many different ways. Still, the Frontline extends its sympathies to you. There are many Ugandans who are hurting because of the flooding yesterday when the weather became problematic. Some people say it's our planning. I saw a tweet from Duncan Abigaba, I think. You must have worked with Ofono Pondo before, and the Honorable Minister at GCIC, who was saying many cities in Europe are built along river banks, and they do not suffer extreme weather conditions. They suffer from weather conditions, but not as extreme as we suffer in Kampala, and asks, who are those kinds of people who think that when you build a house in the river channel and the planners who approve, or the regulators who don't stop those building those things, think the water will go? Many Ugandans tend to think that water will find its level somehow. So they build the way they want to build, and that's a major concern. But the chaos of the rain yesterday was affected quite a number of people. We're discussing and analyzing the President's address to the nation through Parliament today. Let me start with members of Parliament. I have only two in studio tonight, starting with Ibrahim Ssemujju. Did you attend? Did you not attend?
No, I didn't.
Why didn't you attend?
The decision not to attend was institutional. The opposition in Parliament, I don't want to subject myself to conditions that Mr. Museveni has set for those meetings. I must be driven in a bus, go and you are harassed and checked by Museveni guards, yet it is a sitting of Parliament. And I told the Speaker, the last meeting I attended because I was a candidate for speakership, Mr. Museveni even forgot that he was not the Speaker of Parliament. Points of procedures that were being raised, he was running to the microphone to answer.
And yet he's not a member of Parliament.
Yes. So I told the Speaker, Kololo these days has been turned into a compound for the President. When you go, when you take Parliament to Kololo, you have actually surrendered yourself. And I said, why didn't you invite him? But for me, it's a personal decision. I said, no, those meetings, I'll excuse myself.
So
I don't want to be.
Decision for you. Yeah. There's also a decision of you as members of the opposition.
Yes, so the decision by the member of opposition is because of what we've gone through as politicians, but also what our people have gone through. Mr. Museveni is the reason we had two colleagues in prison. He has overrun the judiciary. He does not allow political parties to function. Even for simple meetings in a hotel, you're not going to be allowed. Why should anyone sensible in a political party go to listen to Museveni who cannot allow you to listen to yourself? So there are many reasons that we are given by the institution of the opposition in Parliament, but that was one of them. People who have been arrested, people who have been kidnapped, because Mr. Museveni does not allow political competition in the country.
Isn't that a contradiction that you're sitting in Parliament, participating in all other activities, and only boycotting the President's address? And especially only when it is sitting in Kololo?
We have also boycotted sittings of Parliament. This boycott is not necessarily a boycott against Mr. Museveni. We have boycotted sittings of Parliament when Museveni is not there, to make a point. Because boycotts historically have been used to communicate a point. It's a platform. So we said we are not coming to Kololo because of the following reasons. Because you also want to raise the profile of those issues. And I don't see any contradiction. Because when our two colleagues were arrested, we said we will not be attending Parliament for the next 3 days, and we didn't. So it is one form of expression.
Is it sufficient in your view that you stay away for 3 days and then the 4th day you're present? Does that really communicate? And from experience in Uganda, does it communicate anything? Does it
You see,
shift?
politics and fighting to make a country better is like looking, I have told people in my constituency, it's like looking for money. People will walk to Kampala every day to look for money, for school fees, for this and that. They don't get, and the following day, they will be on the road. Because you will not fold your hand, go and sleep and die in your bed. It is a responsibility that every day you will walk to Kampala or you will take a bus to Kampala to go and look for money. Failure does not demobilize you. So our effort for good governance is not going to stop even when Museveni has gone. Because we have a duty, even for the subsequent governments. I think they're not going to say that Museveni has gone, now everything is okay, so we can go home. So we have a duty as leaders, we have a duty as citizens.
Yes, I appreciate that. My question is, do you as opposition take stock? Do you go back and ask, we boycotted this, what did you get out of this? We acted in manner A, B, C, D, what did you get out of it?
We do discuss, because before a decision like this is taken, you certainly, and there was a meeting. In the meeting, we took a decision that it is useless to go to Kololo. But that decision is on account of what we've been made to go through as
Over the
people.
years. Fair enough.
But also, the content of Mr. Museveni's speeches.
We'll come to the content in a moment. Let's first explore the
I'm
boycott.
not going to be attracted to go and listen to Museveni.
We'll come to that in a moment. Dr. Matembe, do boycotts work in politics?
I thought you are going to start with members of parliament.
Yes,
Why
I had
have
intended
you-
to start with the members of
why
parliament,
have
but
you
let's.
brought in Matembe
You are a
now?
former member of parliament and a former minister.
Anything to express your disagreement or dissatisfaction with what is being done is necessary and important in any institution or in any nation. That's why in our constitution we clearly put demonstration. Demonstration against the wrong that is happening or something that is hurting you, so that you are telling the whole world, or for instance on behalf of the Ugandans here, that surely this should not happen. So if you are in parliament and you have a challenge, maybe the parliament is abused, maybe its authorities is attacked or undermined, and you want to show, you know, the nation that this cannot be done. By the way, you don't just go and demonstrate. You first, you use the other channels which you may first use, and when they don't work, then the final is what? You demonstrate. By the time you go to demonstrate for the public and all those concerned citizens or interested people, you have already tried to use some certain channels. So, for instance, when the parliament really was invaded by, you remember when it was invaded by the, what do you call them, those who guard president? SFC. When it was invaded like that, I mean, a parliament actually should have closed and say no. You remember when we lawyers, when the judiciary, the temple of justice was raped. You remember? We as lawyers, all the lawyers in this country, at least in Kampala, in Law Society, we sat and resolved that we are going to demonstrate, we are going even to clean. We went and cleaned the temple of justice of the defilement.
That was November 16, 2005, I think.
Of the defilement that had been done. We did that. At least you show that you people, we are here to work for you, but the environment or the circumstances are denying us. In other words, you are not endorsing the wrong that is being done. When you keep quiet, it is like you have endorsed what is being done. But when you get out, you remember my castration call? when you called for castration of rapists and that kind of thing, it was in, you know, but with the NRM government coming to power, NRM party government, it closed and shut down all the human rights of Ugandans to express themselves through that kind of demonstration. And
okay. Honorable Winikiza, a quick one from you. Boycotts, do they really work? You're a leader of opposition. Did you have any boycotts during your time?
Yes, we did.
What did you boycott?
Many things. One, we boycotted. Of course, we had said we shall never go for independence celebrations, and we boycotted them. Almost the reason. Yes, eventually they ceased to be national celebrations. They ended up being party celebrations. And so we said, since you reach there and then they are beginning to say, you know, they came for the independence celebrations, they have started seeing the light and everything is yellow. And we said, no, I think this is no longer for the country, it's for the party. We boycotted celebrations to do with Independence Day, including the Women's Day celebrations, because even an order was put out that for every Women's Day celebration, it's the RDCs to be chief guests. And then you reach there, the RDC, by the way, when you go to the hierarchy, the RDC is somewhere below members of parliament, is somewhere below even the district chairman. And then you, the member of parliament, you are obliged now to say, Mr. RDC,
Mr. Guest of Honor, sir.
Mr. Guest of Honor, sir, come and address the
Madam
people.
Chief Guest.
Yes. So we said no. And everything about the Women's Day celebrations is just about party politics.
Sorry to come in. During our time in Mbarara, Women's Day was under my authority as the woman member of parliament, responsible for inviting guest speakers, the chief guests, and so on and so forth.
Things changed after your time.
So for us, we thought that during that time, if they didn't want the issue to be political, then possibly the chairperson of the Women Council would be the one to preside over this celebration and let the women celebrate in an atmosphere that brings them together. Because we do hope that this celebration is intended to celebrate all women wherever they are, irrespective of their, and all people, irrespective of their political affiliations. But when they turned them political, then we said, as for us in the opposition, some of these we shall, we shall let them go to the parties. But even in parliament, you will remember when parliament was hijacked by the SFC, we did walk out. 2017. Yes, 2017, we did walk out. There is even a time we walked out on President Museveni as he was giving his State of the Nation address. Because we really saw it was.
You remember when
so
we walked
to
out
us,
of
to us, like Ssemujju did mention, when you demonstrate, or when you walk out, or when you boycott, he said that it's another way of communicating your dissatisfaction. And you use that as a platform to communicate a message. People will ask, where are the members of the opposition? And they will say the members of the opposition have not participated because of ABCD. What you only have to do is to put the reasons why you are not attending in black and white so that everybody understands the reason why you are not coming.
Okay.
I also remember the very first time, I think, when I was a leader of the opposition, we went to parliament and they had arrested Dr. Kizza Besigye. Just went in, raised our placards and said, release Besigye. Eventually I heard Museveni talk about it. We were silent, we didn't make any noise, we just raised our placards. And they came and removed them from us and we said, it is done.
The message had been delivered.
The message had been delivered. So when you demonstrate, in whichever way you want to demonstrate, if they have stopped you from going on the streets, what do? You can demonstrate using other means. That is non-violence.
How effective?
It is effective in communicating a message. And those you want to receive the message will have received it.
Okay.
You may not be allowed possibly to assemble and address a press conference. They can choose to attack even a press conference. So what you do, you communicate your message in that way.
Dr. Chris Baryomunsi, you're also the Minister for National Guidance. Your colleagues from the opposition have been missing these presidential addresses. How do you feel that, like many members are saying here, that you're holding national events, what are supposed to be national events, as just a political party, an individual political party, including the president's address to the nation today through parliament?
Okay, thank you very much. And thank my colleagues for their narrations, but they have fallen short of the achievements they have registered under their boycotts or walkouts. You see, today, the president was having a special address to the parliament, which is provided for in the constitution, that the president can, from time to time, in consultation with the speaker, address the parliament on any matter of national importance. And as he communicated, he said he had spoken to the speaker on phone and agreed on the subject to present. Our rules do not force us as members of parliament to attend. Actually, you don't even need a quorum for parliament to sit. Quorum is only needed when you are voting. So even when the speaker comes and there are only 2 members of parliament, parliament can proceed. 2, we have also amended our rules to provide for digital participation. You can participate through Zoom. So, therefore, absence of any member or members of the opposition does not in any way affect the proceedings of parliament. And I don't think it has been effective for the opposition. The issue of attending parliament in Kororo is because of space. Ideally, the parliament would have convened in the chambers, but those chambers where we sit were built for 82 members of parliament at independence. Now we are over 500. So the rules permit the speaker to designate another area which can serve as parliament and its precincts. So that's why parliament shifts to Kororo, so that you accommodate the numbers in the parliament. So it should be understood in that context. And we should respect the security that moves with the president.
But how do you feel as a political party that you're holding a national function alone?
No, first of all, it is not true that these national functions, like Independence, Women's Day, the members of the opposition are invited. Even when you look at the program, say arrival of leaders, there is recognition for the leader of opposition, for leaders of political parties.
I have never been invited to Women's
But if they choose not to participate, you cannot attend by force. It is their choice. But we provide for their participation. And it is not true, for instance, that the women members of parliament don't take charge of organizing Women's Day celebrations. I have seen women members of parliament. Usually the district leaders ask the women MPs to take over the arrangement for... Yes, I am an MP, like you have been in parliament.
Sorry, Chris, if you're in parliament this week, the woman MP for Oima City, Honorable Nyakato, actually asked parliament to intervene. For her, not only was she stopped, but she was tear gassed.
Imagine.
With her women.
Well, I don't know the details. I was not in the house.
I am giving you the details.
I can also give you an example that Kanungu district, we marked our Women's Day the other day on the 10th. The event was organized by the woman MP, Honorable Chinsha Wankunda, who invited the Vice President of Uganda to come and preside over.
If you're NRM, yes.
So the woman he's talking about is NRM, so there is no contradiction.
What I know, it doesn't matter. Maybe you just want to use it for local politicking, but what I know, it has been for most of the districts, the local leaders.
But you're also aware, was arrested. You're also aware, as Honorable Ssemujju is saying, that a woman member of parliament organized a celebration of Women's Day in her district, raised tents, and that the function was tear gassed and some women arrested.
Where?
In Hoima City.
I am not aware, but I'm saying you may
now
need
you
to
are
look,
aware.
You may need to look further into the dynamics on the ground. The dynamics on the ground.
See something which is wrong.
No.
And you say it. Because,
yes.
honestly,
Yes.
Mr. Honorable
Yes,
Bajomo,
yes.
you know very well that opposition members...
Why don't you give me my time to speak? because I listened to
you allow points of
I am
information.
Well, but I'm saying I am not privy to the details.
Something.
I'm not privy to the details what happened there.
Okay.
But what I'm saying that in the districts, the women members of parliament, whether NRM or non-NRM.
We are just telling him that where there are NRM MPs, they
No,
will allow them.
I also live in Uganda.
He listened,
please.
so allow him to
I also
make his
live in
submission.
Uganda, please. And I am an active participant in the politics in the country. So don't pretend that you know
So
more.
why didn't you know about that?
Now, don't pretend that you know more
active.
about what happened than myself. And I sit with the members of parliament in the house. So I think the opposition generally just decided to boycott functions organized by government.
Okay.
Thinking they will communicate a message. Whether it is helping them or not is another issue. So for parliament, like now, it is a choice of a member of parliament to attend the parliament or not. Even the other ordinary sessions, have you seen the parliament full? Members of parliament, you can come and attend or you may not. So, but I don't think, in my view, that is helping the cause of the opposition.
Mr. Fanopondo, let me come to you. Boycotts, particularly the boycott of the president's address today.
Like my colleagues themselves have admitted, it is their freedom to do so, provided they do like they have done, to keep away peacefully. I would even add, they kept away their nuisance. Because now we'll be discussing their nuisance if they had
Pardon me?
chosen their nuisance. You know, previously they have attended and they have become nuisance, heckling and so on and so forth. And they enter shouting match, sometimes with the speaker, sometimes with the president. Now, for the president interjecting, maybe could it be a failure of the presiding officer, because it is the job of the presiding officer to moderate the interactions in parliament. If somebody who is not supposed to be speaking speaks, it should be the speaker to call them to order. I am not aware that the speaker, particularly this one, the previous one, I remember used to remind the president about the rules of procedure of the House and the decorum of the House. Don't answer them directly. Speak through the, the chair. Like Honorable Barry Musa has said, they have amended the rules so that you can participate even from outside because of space. And we know that this particular parliament session, I think the last 2 years, the speaker actually designated a number of MPs who can sit at any one time in the chambers. So it is disingenuous for my brother Ssemujju and Kalia Magwa, who is holding the seat for the leader of opposition, to say they can't go to Kororo because what? Parliament itself now is barricaded. You and I know that when we are covering Parliament as journalists, as strangers, we would go with our telephones. The times have changed, that you can't be allowed to go like us now, ordinary people. You can't go to Parliament with your phone into the gallery there. You can't go with a bag. So these are all good precautionary measures to protect the top leadership of the country, including members of parliament. It would be probably right for Ssemujju if he said that the members of parliament from NRM are permitted to walk in with to drive in their cars, go with their phones, while they from the opposition don't. I go to parliament when the president is there. I go to the NRM caucus. I know this is the situation, that even our own NRM caucus, we leave our phones behind, including ministers, by the way.
Ministers, when we go for cabinet.
The only people who are allowed to go where the president is with their phones on special permission are people like me who have to use their phones for communication. You get special clearance, which is understandable. We are a small group. But to know that they have actually been participating in this session, in the sitting today, from your own TV coverage here, you heard people had said they had boycotted. They were actually following, and they were now answering back how the president did not speak about the things they thought were important. You had Honorable Nambeshe, you had another MP who said they were breaking down what the president did not say to their satisfaction. So what does that mean? That they were actually participating, they were engaging.
So, like the minister said, they were participating via Zoom.
Yes, they were engaging with the presentation of the president. So they actually participated. If you ask Honorable Ssemujju today, right now, I am sure he knows word for word what Museveni said on the floor of Parliament today. And so it is disingenuous. Now, does boycott actually help them, which I want to conclude with? Let me go back. Honorable Matembe prefers to start with...
Can I flip that question?
Because I may lose my point.
Yes.
Honorable Matembe prefers to pick NRM as a party after she left in 2005, 2006. But let us remember, in 86, there was opposition here, led by somebody called the Iron Lady. The peace Iron Lady, we all know her. They boycotted the RRC and then expanded NRC in the election of 1989. The Honorable Matembe and others participated in that election. We moved the country forward. I remember the phrase of Honorable Cecily Ogwan, as she was then known, the Iron Lady. She said, I will not touch Museveni's politics, even with the 20-meter pole. Today, what is the situation? The praise singer of the NRM democratization, including only 2-3 days ago, you and I were with her. About another 1 month ago at the function where we were still honoring Honorable El Karhanga. You remember what she said? So, let sleeping dogs lie. For us, the boycotts will not stop the forward journey of democratization and transformation of Uganda.
Does the NRM feel embarrassed when
no,
it's
we
left
don't.
alone?
We don't. We would be feeling embarrassed if we chased them. In fact, we should have felt embarrassed in '86 when we formally closed open participation of political parties. We should have felt embarrassed then. But even then, we did not feel embarrassed because we thought it was a necessary measure.
Okay.
Today, we can't feel embarrassed because we are not closing out the Ssemujjus. They are keeping out of violation. As it should be in a democratic dispensation.
Okay. Honorable Matembe wanted to react to something.
I just want to say one thing. You know, it is so sad when people speak as if the nation means NRM. Because anybody who is interested in the good of this country, even when he's saying it can't stop the journey of democratization, which democratization when, like, the opposition resists something and we say, it doesn't matter, we don't care. As long as for them, they have their majority, they have their money, they have their military, they do not care about any other Ugandan who is not in the NRM. If it was other countries which really care, they are concerned about the other side. Because what is the role of opposition? The role of opposition is to check and, you know, you keep government into check so that it helps, actually it is supposed to help them to see where things are not right and then they correct them. For instance, for me, when I was in CA, when we had started CA, these men started, you know, the way that time men were, you know, treating women like shit and that kind of thing. They started their nonsense, and we said order, point of order, and so on, and they continued with their nonsense. I tell you, I stood up and I led a walkout out of CA. When I looked behind, all the women, I think over there was Siso Ogwaro who did not walk out, but all the women walked out. And the next day, we came out with a statement. We addressed the whole of CA. And I remember Karhanga standing up and defending us and saying, these women are our colleagues. We are here on a national important matter. We must respect one another because we need their voice, they need us, we are all Ugandans. And from that day, they stopped that nonsense of demeaning women and holding them like useless. In these other outside countries, when you are doing democracy, they are bothered. You know, this pride, this arrogance of NRM leaders, is the one which destroys this
You want
country.
us to lose sleep because Ssemujju didn't go to parliament today?
The what?
You want us to lose sleep because Ssemujju didn't go to
me,
parliament?
I'm talking of a general thing where you are so arrogant. Where you are so arrogant. This arrogance, some of us have ever seen it. When we talk and say, you know, you are not the end. So please stop this arrogance.
No,
be concerned that Ugandans are concerned, are affected, and be concerned.
It depends on the cause why you are walking out. Like you, the women, maybe you had a genuine cause.
Charles,
But
you don't care.
walking out for politicking purposes. No.
I was in Chankwan's 203 as a journalist, covering the movement conference. Mr. Museveni, in his speech, said we are allowing political parties to return, and he gave 3 reasons. The one that I want to pick, he said we have people in the country who want these parties to return. So they are not giving us peace. So let them return, they stop going outside and speaking against us. He spoke like Nyerere conducted himself when a majority in Tanzania voted against the return of political parties. I am surprised. Maybe the Honorable Chris Waliomus and Fonopon have taken a simplistic approach. And it does not matter how many people are, but the moment you keep a section of society dissatisfied, and to use his word, and you don't lose sleep, I don't know which sort of leader you will be. Because a leader must be concerned that a section of society, in this parliament, there are more than 100 opposition MPs. And Chris says, do you want us to lose sleep that they did not attend Kololo? 100 members of parliament. If you are concerned, certainly you will lose sleep because you want to keep a country satisfied. But if you don't care, certainly you, Mr. Williams, you will go and sleep comfortably.
Maybe the question, what would it take to keep the country together?
So there are many things that have changed today. When I joined the politics in 2010, it was easy in this country to go and hold a rally. We formed a group here called the SUVI 2011. We moved almost in each and every district in Uganda to address rallies. We were never stopped.
Then Public
Today,
Order Management Act came.
Even political parties cannot address meetings. Political parties registered by Electoral Commission.
Okay. We need to take a break, and when we come out of the break, we need to be discussing the contents of the President's address. And he says, we are the ones to cause socio-economic transformation. You are the members of Parliament. You, the members of Parliament, should take more time with the people. Talk and let them also talk to you. Disdain what is holding them back. I am also going to be involved because I am going to tour 2 zones in Uganda per month. I have succeeded in the cattle corridor with dairy farming. I have succeeded with the 4-acre model, the oil palm in Kalangala, coffee in Masaka, so we can succeed. That's the President addressing Parliament this afternoon at Kololo, addressing only members from his ruling National Resistance Movement without members of the opposition. We'll be going into his speech, his address. What did he say? What did he leave out? After a short commercial break.
NBS Frontline.
Get the most affordable 4G smartphone in Uganda from Airtel. Now heavily discounted from 250,000 shillings to 150,000 shillings only. Yes, 150,000 shillings only to keep you connected to your loved ones.
Dial *175*94# to activate free 1 GB instantly and 100% double data on all weekly and monthly bundles for 3 months.
Nivana wafe, twenywele, Nivana wafe, twenywele, Nivana wafe, lunyobulamu.
Nirvana is available in the 500 ml bottles at 500 shillings and 1.5 liters at 1,500 shillings. Nirvana packaged drinking water is a product of Crown Beverages Limited, makers of Pepsi products. That's life. That's Nirvana.
True freedom is being unlimited at home. Free to stream non-stop, free to jiggle endlessly, free to go to school or just be cool. True freedom is being unlimited at work. Free to jump on multiple calls at the same time. Free to send the entire office as an email attachment. Real freedom is roaming the streets and the internet while on the go. True freedom is unlimited internet at home, office, and on the go. Experience unlimited freedom. Get the BCC Unlimited Home and SME Internet connectivity, dedicated office connectivity, social Wi-Fi and hotspots, leased line connectivity, and enjoy true internet freedom. Blue Crane Communications. Let's take you ahead. Blue Crane Communication is regulated by UCC.
Work, work, work. Work's over. Busy Biter, get down to snack business. When snacking is under attack, we'll be there to fight back.
Better steady, be better.
7 out of 10 of us have lost a substantial amount of money to fraudsters. Money we could have used to pay rent, invest in small businesses, clear fees, or send to mama in the village. Better steady and protect what's yours by being vigilant with your virtual transactions. Keep your PIN to yourself and only take calls from registered customer care numbers in case of telecom issues. Better steady, be better.
The Ministry of Education and Sports, in partnership with Incredible Youths, invite all youths in high school, tertiary institutions, as well as graduates to the inaugural Career Guidance Day celebrations under the theme The Mindset Revolution at the Kololo Celebration Grounds on the 20th March 2023, running from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Come listen to and interact with the vastly diverse keynote speakers as they share from their wealth of knowledge in today's marketplace. The First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports, Honorable Janet Museveni, will preside over the event. Come and get equipped with the tools you will need in your future career. Brought to you by the Ministry of Education and Sports in partnership with Incredible Youths and powered by Pepsi, 1MTN, Afro Mobile, Stanbic Bank, and NBS.
You will always know when you're in the presence of the finest. It's like time slows down, just enough for you to feel everything in full flavor.
Just come out lager. Alcohol is not for sort of persons under 18. Please drink responsibly.
NBS Frontline.
You're still watching NBS Frontline, hot off the air. lots of discussions off the air. Better Steady, the campaign is going on. That's a campaign that NBS is participating in. Better Steady, be careful who you deal with, especially when it comes to your access to digital platforms. Don't just be conned. Be careful. Don't let people con you. Yes. Mobile money pins, and you're giving it to someone else. The minister is here. He was. You were at the launch of Better Steady.
I'm the one who launched it.
You were the one who launched it, yes.
Because we don't want people to use technology to steal others. So beware of the conmen.
Okay.
So the campaign is about that.
Thank you. We are the ones to cause socio-economic transformation. You, the members of parliament, should take more time with the people. Talk with them and let them also talk to you. Disdain what is holding them back. I am also going to be involved because I am going to tour 2 zones in Uganda per month. I have succeeded in the cattle corridor with dairy farming. I have succeeded in the 4-acre with the 4-acre model. The oil palm project in Kalangala, coffee in Masaka, so we can succeed. President Yoweri Museveni addressing Parliament this afternoon. Honourable Minister, let me start with you on this one. Let me just read out something else the President said. When we came to the scene in the 1960s, we soon found out through analysis that Uganda's economy can change through the free education for all and all family members getting involved in the money economy. We started with the cattle corridor, and once we achieved that partial success of commercial dairy farming, in 1995, I went to the whole country lecturing Ugandans about the 4-acre model, farming strategy, and spreading the socio-economic transformation and wealth creation gospel. Then he talked about PDM, which was the main subject of the discussion. PDM comes under NRM's principle number 3 of socio-economic transformation, although it cannot survive without the remaining 3 of patriotism, Pan-Africanism, and democracy. Honourable Minister, the focus of the President's address today, you've seen some of your colleagues, including from the ruling party, complaining that the President ignored critical issues of national concern that he shouldn't have been talking about. I mean that he should have been talking about that he didn't talk about today.
You know, in the Bible, in the Gospel of Matthew chapter 4, verse 4, Jesus said, man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. People are using it to politics, like this Mabati debate and so forth. So they thought that would be an opportunity to talk of politicking and the issues. The President instead chose to speak on a matter which touches on the lives of Ugandans. As you heard him, I think he had a telephone conversation.
And was touching lives of Kenyans.
He had a telephone conversation with the Speaker, and the Speaker recently adjourned the House and gave us a recess of 2 weeks to go on the ground and make an assessment of this flagship program of the parish development model, whose major objective is to empower and emancipate the poor, the vulnerable, those who live in subsistence livelihood, to see the 39%, to see how they can be supported to get lifted out of poverty. So I think when they had a conversation, they were able to have that address to Parliament. And like the President said, NRM stands on 4 ideological pillars, the third one being socio-economic transformation. You see, the key question you should ask, why are we in politics? Why do I go to Chinchizi to seek a vote to be in the Parliament? It is to make a contribution to improve the quality of life of the people who vote me. And therefore he was focusing on how do we as members of Parliament play a role in improving the socio-economic conditions of our people. And to me, I think it was a very important topic because he can't address all the, yes, there are many issues he could have addressed, but in a few hours he has with the Parliament, he can't address each and everything. So today he chose to focus on that issue of socio-economic transformation, these flagship programs, particularly the parish development model, again connecting with the members of parliament who have been on the ground, make assessment. He did say he has received a report from the speaker where members of parliament have raised the issues which government should look at and try to improve the program. So I found no problem. No problem with the
yes,
the
choosing
topic
to
that is
ignore, Mr. Fonopondo, to ignore some of these critical issues that are in public debate and focusing on the PDM. And this is what he says about PDM. I have started touring the 18 zones of Uganda. Yes. I started with Acholi. Straight away, the Wananchi told me about the parasite swindling of the PDM and the Myoga funds. And in case they tampered with the money, they will be the people to answer to other flies, to the flies. I have heard of a number of bad groups. They want to find ways of stealing the money. At least 90% of the parishes have created the circles. We are sending 100 million sites beginning to swindle PDM money. But you ignore other concerns, or you don't speak about other concerns, like about bleeding of the resources the government should be using to fight the same ills.
Are you asking
Mabati?
me?
Yes, I'm asking you.
You say I'm amazed, and this is where we in the media will let down the people. Because we are part of the leadership of the country, we want to be like members of parliament who live what they're supposed to do and do what they're not supposed to do. We are not critical. If you have lived in Uganda, you are 25 years and above, and you have been in the media for at least 5 years, you should be able to know the style of leadership, the demeanor of Mr. Yoweri Museveni as the president. He's not somebody who moves with the wind. I've said this on this show before, that because you're talking about Mabati and Kitutu, you expect that the president will come and run with what we are talking about. Secondly, the president, by media count, which hasn't been denied, the president has given directives, instructions, how the pilferage of Karamoja relief items should be handled through different types of investigation, including criminal investigation that may lead to prostitution. Would you want the president, if he has given that directive, to again come back and start to Wolokoso on parliament how investigations are going and what is going to do? Because that would be preempting investigation, but also undermining the judicial process eventually. Because somebody then can quote tomorrow in court that the president, this is a political witch hunt, you had the president said this in the parliament, you had him with this. This has not been the trademark of the president. The president has sacked many people, high and low, or caused their sacking. I have never, except the case of General Salim Saleh. It's the only case I know of where the president publicly said why he removed him from being army commander. The rest, majority of the cases, the president never goes public to say why he has removed Ofono, why he has removed Bariomusi, why he has removed it. He leaves you to guess, and usually, because matters would have played out in the public, we would have known why actually somebody is removed. So that's his method of work. Secondly, this was his request to the speaker. I happen to have been a little privy just before the president went to South Africa. Actually, that was when, and therefore, simultaneously, the speaker sent members of parliament so that he would get things from the ground. A week earlier, remember, the president had launched his countrywide tour in Gulu, in Acholi. He held 2 meetings there, where he now got feedback because people came on the microphone, local people, and told him their own experiences since the launch of PDM in February. And they said about difficulty in forming circles, the things they're being asked, difficulty of, many actually said money is on our account, but we cannot access. Why? Because we have not because according to the system, if we are trained in a circle and one of us does not have his NIN or her NIN, money cannot get out. So the challenge is like that. So the president got feedback from the people, but he also got a little distilled feedback from members of parliament who had gone to their constituencies. And This is his request. So he's the one who knows why he made this request. The rest of us, including members of parliament, if you think that the president was short of your expectation, the time to debate the president's statement is going to come. Come and raise those issues so that maybe in the future when the president is coming back, he can incorporate your concerns. But to say that the president did not meet your expectation, and I don't even believe, like I said earlier on, the Honorable Ssemujju were actually following the president. On TV, on social media, on the radios, because this was alive. And the reason they are giving expert comments to the media about their disappointment
is because they followed.
Because they followed.
There's David.
And so, please, let us learn that this request was of the president. So even if you just wanted to talk about one issue, in any case, we also know that when you overload attention span of Ugandans, memory lapse, why would you are the same people who say when the president comes and talks about many things, you remember we used to laugh about his 57-page statement to Parliament. Now, when he condenses and says, I'm only going to talk about an issue, we again
becomes an issue.
We have an issue.
David in Masoli, Wakiso District is watching us and says, it's unfortunate that the majority of the opposition boycott such events to pass on a message, but watch live from their homes or go back and watch online. Is there anyone receiving such messages they send? I don't think so. Just like it's not a culture here for leaders to resign, the people in government seem to have closed their eyes and ears to such messages. Honorable Winnie Kiza, let me come to you. You are a leader. What did the president say? What did he miss? The hits and misses from his address to the nation today, from your perspective.
He talked about the parish development model, which has been a song for everyone. And just like everybody is saying, the parish development model has already been abused. We saw people being arrested for abuse of the parish development model. But you know, even when he highlighted the parish development model as a vehicle that is going to get people out of poverty, personally I have reservations on it, because I've seen other vehicles that he has used, like Entandikwa, Bonabagagawale, Bagwagwawale, some of which have not actually yielded anything to lift the ordinary person from poverty. And so for me, I know that as long as he's not so tough on fighting graft, still the money will come and will be eaten. Like many people we have asked, including his own members of parliament, members of the NRM, even when my brother here thinks that it was his style, he doesn't want to go with the wind, it's actually not the wind. As leaders, you need to also hear the voices of your people. If you are a leader, a people's leader, and then as a leader, answer the concerns of the people. So for him to even choose to remain silent on an issue that is eating up a bigger community of Ugandans, where many of his ministers are involved in the iron sheet scandal, and he just decides not to even talk about it, not even to mention it anywhere, one, it showed that he either condones it.
One of the questions that were being asked was that some of the ministers either facing investigations or being accused of mishandling the Karamoja relief were present at his address.
Yes.
They're saying, what kind of message are you communicating? Because in some cases they would say, you feel like a little bit embarrassed and either stay away or you're asked to stay away, not to create a
somehow they...
I can see is wondering.
Some of them are...
You are the one who... You know, you manage government communication, well, and these are important things.
No. I think they are serving ministers, and by virtue of that, they needed to appear.
And members of parliament.
But I can also say that possibly they were there to say, now here we are, talk about us, because after all, maybe you are equally in the same boat with us. But to me as a person as well, I think he just wanted to show Parliament that you are not doing anything. What you call very important, to me is not very important. Recently, Parliament just handled also another scandal of NSSF, Ugandans expected that maybe he might even give a hint on this. But also remember there is a minister who was censured by Parliament. She was also seated there. And the man has never even made any comment. So the issues that Parliament is highlighting and are looking at as matters of national importance and as of serious concern, what did the Parliament want? What did the Parliament want?
No, the Constitution says...
What did the Parliament want?
Yes.
What did the Parliament want?
No, what does the Constitution say? The Constitution says when the Parliament makes that vote, then it is up to the appointing authority to take appropriate action.
Now,
I can tell you in the cabinet,
that is
he has
what,
talked about the Namaganza, if you want.
That is what I wanted to tell you, that you know, he comes to Parliament. He's speaking to members of Parliament. Members of Parliament who have told him, Mr. President, we are dissatisfied with one of your ministers. Anyway, both of them were part of the process that made her a minister. And he chooses not to even talk to Parliament about it. So I know that is why many of the members of Parliament, including his own members of Parliament, because they are basically the ones who attended, when you see the comments that you played here, from members of Parliament of the NRM, they will tell you, Omushiza Gambirebush. Precisely. Because what we expected him to address is not what he addressed. And these are members of Parliament who are answering concerns from the population. So they expected him to guide them as the one who is supposed to guide the nation. They expected him to guide them on what they should also be able to guide their population.
Could he have been communicating? He invokes them and says they are the ones supposed to lead the development. They're supposed to listen to their people and talk to their people, engage with them a lot more.
By the way, the members of Parliament's role is clearly stipulated in the Constitution. They are supposed to legislate, appropriate, do oversight, and represent their people, which they are doing. They have represented their people, they have legislated, and they have appropriated the money, which the executive must do what?
Have they been as effective?
Have they been
as to whether they have been effective, that is another matter. But has government also been executive?
Shouldn't that be interrogated?
Has government also been executive
let me come to Dr. Matembe.
Fulfilling its responsibility that it is supposed to do over the citizens of Uganda when you now want to tag on the members of Parliament?
Let me come to Dr.
Because
Matembe.
service delivery is basically a function of the executive.
Colonel James Nkojo is watching us from Morolinga in Moroto District, Karamoja. And he says, we are ready to take on PDM. Karamoja. Honorable Matembe, you watched the president's address from beginning up to the end. You shared with us already. What were the hits and misses?
And you know why I watched? Because you had told me that you wanted... They had told me that they wanted me here.
Yes.
So I wanted to hear what is going on. Otherwise, I would not have wasted my time to watch President Museveni. I stopped long ago.
Now that you watched.
I stopped long ago. Give me opportunity to speak. Because as a person who worked with President Museveni for good 20 years, and as a person who has watched President Museveni for now, this is my 18th, and could not sleep when Museveni is talking, could not miss any point when he's there. My God. Munsasire konkanyo, I must speak my mind. He talked nothing. I wanted to say about whatever, but there was nothing. Why am I saying this? Why am I saying this? By the way, his address should not have gone to Parliament. It should have been, you know, a national address addressing Ugandans, but not necessarily Parliament. Because Parliament for what?
He addressed Ugandans
I want
Parliament.
to say, you don't have to go through Parliament to address Ugandans. I want to say that as a person, as one of the NRM government of 10-point program, there was point number 5, building an independent, integrated, self-sustaining economy. Oh my God. That's what we wanted to do. That's what we came to do, okay? 38 years now, you call Parliament social transformation. Now, which social transformation? And then, one thing I must tell the public listening to me, and they all know, every 5 years of Museveni's government, he comes out with, is it a project? What do you call it? A program or whatever. Bonaba Gwagwaware, it's 5 years. Then nuts, 5 years. Then wealth creation, 5 years. Then emyoga. Over that one, I didn't even know what it meant.
He also addressed it today.
Over 5 years, over 3, that one, I don't know. Now she comes, parish development model. Parish development model. I saw the first lady one time he visited Ntungamo. And the whole of Ntungamo people were seated there. And she said, fellow Ugandans, we've been trying to get a program that would develop Ugandans. Finally, we've got it. We've found parish development model. This was the whole place, all of them there. We shall be giving you money. And now we have come with 17 millions. This is a project which is going to lift Ugandans from poverty. I was watching 17 millions. The whole public was there. I said, but really, what is this? Now, we've been hearing about this parish development. I personally, I saw him abusing young people. They say, where is it? Go and find it. Hey, I went to parish. In Uruzira, in my parish. I've been asking, I don't want the money. But I ask these people, you people, parish development model, where is it? They say, we don't see it. Where I was born in Rutoma Kashar, there in my county, I'm a political person who is concerned about Ugandans. I say, where is the thing? We don't see it also. And now he says, they bring, is it 17 millions? 23 parishes. 23 parishes. You bring 17 million. And you come, you say, I have come to parish. Yes, parish.
Okay, let me provide some information.
A parish has got, I'm telling you, like of Ruzira.
Yes.
A parish of Ruzira has got 20, is it 23 or 24 villages? Now, you come with 17 millions. Even a village, you cannot get even 1 million. You cannot get even 1 million. Let me finish, you talk. Me, I'm telling people.
I tell them the truth.
Leave me alone. Even today, I was listening. He said that the speaker has given me a report. Even the 17 million, people have got 7, people have got 6. Where has it gone? That's why now where I'm coming to. I want to tell President Museveni that if he thinks that all of us Ugandans tuinza kugumazibwa, Museveni used to use his word, make you sleep and you're like this. Now, if he's making the Ugandans of NRM kugumara, for who are not, fellow Ugandans, we have our brains, we have our wisdom, we can see what is happening and what is going on. Because if a president can say, they are going to see me, those ones, I saw him the other time when he went to Guru. Is it Guru where he said, I'm now coming personally to supervise the parish development model. I said, surely, Mr. President, you have failed. If you can go to the village to be the one supervise a parish development model, that means you have no, that those ones, those who are eating the money, you remember even this, is it Myoga? Myoga was eaten, they do, these parliamentarians themselves, they go there, they come and see the Myoga man is eaten, already that's tomorrow 17 lies. I'm going to deal with them, don't worry. And I was watching and saying, Mr. President, if you simply cannot deal with those under you directly, in you with you, if you cannot deal with that, how do you think you can convince Ugandans that you can deal with somebody in the village of the parish model when you are not dealing with these people who are under you. I want to tell President Museveni, surely today, there was nothing of value that he was telling us. We have heard of the Ntandukwa, we have heard of Bonabagagaware, we have heard of all this nonsense, which end up just the people are kugumazibwa, they eat the money, Ugandans are here, they are suffering. Only what I heard is cattle corridor. Cattle corridor. I worked cattle corridor, let me tell you how he succeeded in cattle corridor. Because he had a personal interest in relation to the type of people he was dealing with, in his relation also being a cattle person, a cattle keeper. He used to go there, Ugandan money from this country, in our taxes, we are being used to make sure that those families, they have managed, they are improving, and he's right. Because I don't want Ugandans, they can hate me if they want. But when President Museveni came here, there are those sub-counties there where even you couldn't find even a iron sheet house or something. Now all those places, they have mansions, they have stored. Yes, it is true he worked for them. They have succeeded. Okay, but the rest of the people with these kugumas, well, they are crying. These days they just say, and another thing I want to say, then I shut down. I heard him there saying, these things of money are here in this country. I saw President Museveni as an initiator of bribing people with his cash envelopes. If you go into my video and look them up, he himself is an initiator of these donations with cash envelopes. He is the one who started all this corruption, is the one who caused members of parliament to suffer because wherever they go, they must get money, give money. And now he's saying, no, it's not good, it's not right.
Hold it, you respond at some appropriate moment.
Some of us are intelligent, have wisdom, have brains. Stop, please. We can't take Kugumazwa.
Aaron Ainomjsha is from Rise Against Poverty organization, RAP Uganda in Mbarara City. He says, the boycott by opposition MPs aside, it's interesting, but at the same time worrying that the number of MPs is bigger than the size of the chamber. After 37 years of Museveni rule, MPs and cabinet are many, enough to fit in the are not enough to fit in the chamber. About PDM, why is the money being sent directly to people's mobile phones, phone accounts, as if it's meeting allowance?
Bank accounts.
I am reading a message. We'll respond, yes.
The circle bank account.
He says, here in Chiruhura district, some LC1 chairperson in Kashonji constituency was murdered last night after spending hours in a bar enjoying part of PDM money he received recently. Aaron, both the minister and the Ofono Ponda are responding and saying, the money is going to bank accounts, not on mobile money.
Bank accounts of parish circles.
Yes, and Michael Chakulaga said, what did he say?
He did.
Let me start with the simplistic way of looking at this. And I know Ofono Ponda is more intelligent than because listening to listening and following a presidential address doesn't make it great. That because Mr. Museveni wanted the people to go to Kololo and provide an audience. Just imagine if everybody chose to follow, either on TV or on radio. Because Ofono Ponda is now very happy that people were following even without being in Kololo. The intention of the president was to speak to members of parliament, physically present.
Which he did.
So don't take pride in people following wherever they are. And whether Ssemujju was following or not, we're now discussing the content. I have discussed the speeches delivered in America. I am not in America. Even the one delivered by Biden, but I have discussed it.
Those ones. Those ones we are not boycotting.
I have a duty, by the way, like the Honorable Miriam Matembe said. If I didn't have a duty to listen, maybe I wouldn't. But this one, I have a duty
to come here.
fact that President Museveni, at the end of the second year of Parliament, is still addressing members of Parliament, wanting them to understand PDM, tells you the bigger problem the country is facing. That the elected leaders at the level of Parliament, 2 years later, Mr. Museveni thinks they don't understand PDM. So he wants a speaker to convene a meeting to teach them PDM. And his people are happy. That is the performance. Performance of their government is that ministers and MPs in the second year, at the end of the second year, they are being taught what PDM is and what their role must be. and that was the content of the speech. But like some people have observed, there was actually an NRM MP who I know was nearly escorted from Kororo because he was shouting at Mr. Museveni saying, what you are talking about is nonsense. You want to speak about Mabati. I was not there. But I know that this happened. If you deliver a speech and you are the only one who is happy with it, then there is a problem with that speech. That you have all the NRM MPs I have seen here. Everybody you interviewed on NBS was complaining. So what was the intention of delivering a speech that is going to leave people complaining? Because the moment you make a request under Article 101 of the Constitution that I want to address a matter of national importance, it must be a matter of national importance. I've seen the President speaking to Parliament about issues of security, I think a minute after the death of the Honorable Abiriga. Fonopono says he's unpredictable. No, he's not. He's actually predictable.
I didn't say he's
I have also seen him address Parliament, I think after twice on matters of security. NRM MPs themselves came to listen to their chairman, hoping that he will address matters that they themselves face every day. He said, on homosexuality, I will speak to you. Do you have other matters? Come to me in confidence. We will speak about them. And then he left. I was at a radio station this evening, asked an NRM MP, tell me if you think the president has said something he has not said before. And there was none. So that's how that's the frame under which they left Kororo. But as the Honorable Yomu said, to assess PDM, I think the results are not pleasing. And one way of preempting, because last week, presentation of the findings of MPs at a sub-regional level was supposed to start and it was on the order paper. It didn't start. I had been told that Mr. Museveni was uncomfortable with the MPs discussing the failures of PDM. So one way of preempting that,
Who told you?
the one who tells me every day, one way of on the same subject matter, because there are very few NRM MPs now, after that address, who will come and say this thing has been a failure. I think now reports may even change in the Parliament, because
iPads. So how will they change?
I have said the debate.
That means he hasn't read his own.
If you can be patient,
no.
Because for you, you are new. I was in Chankwanzi. When NRM district chairpersons started changing reports they had brought from villages. Was it something new? Because for you, you are new, you think things cannot change. They have changed them before, and everybody. Go and ask Migereko and Kenya what they did to change those reports. I'm not speaking about something that is out of ordinary.
So you can change the reports already within the Parliament.
Having the reports of Parliament changing and they are under investigations.
Which one?
This man,
Which one?
who is now Minister of Local Government. You think we have forgotten when they went and cooked and
But Ssemujju has a copy of that PDM report. How will they get it from you?
The woman, that woman and Magezi, they changed things, but you also.
Can we let Honorable Ssemujju complete his submission?
So I think this address was an attempt to preempt a discussion on the failure of PDM.
Because
Because that debate was supposed to come last week. I think it may come next week. The PDM, and I'll give you an example of my own constituency. I represent a constituency with near 500,000 people, with 6 parishes. The parish where I stay, one of the smallest, has more than 100,000 people. They have brought 21 million people. So far, since the beginning of this financial year, the money that has been sent to local government for the parishes is, according to Museveni's speech, is 230 billion shilling. The money that Mr. Museveni and his wife and the State House have consumed so far is 680 billion shilling. So the money to take care of Museveni and his wife is, because they have now come for supplementary.
His wife or State House or President's office?
State House is a residence, it's not the President's office.
Yes.
It's the residence of Mr. Museveni and his wife. The President's office is different. I'm not talking about the President's office. I'm talking about the residence of Mr. Museveni.
The residence of the President.
State House.
He has so far spent 600. Yes, it's not an office. We provide money for President's office.
And the State House as well.
The money so far spent 680 billion shilling, and he has come to Parliament to ask for a supplementary of 150 billion shilling. But the money for PDM so far sent now and confirmed by Museveni, 230 billion shilling. I've told you in my constituency, in a parish of 100,000, they have sent 21 million shilling. In my village where I stay, 125 groups asked for that money. 61 groups qualified, but the money is 21 million shilling for the whole. So they have said, even within the groups of 15 people, they have said you can only recommend, you will get 1 million, but you recommend one person. That money, the population doesn't even know that they are supposed to take it back. In fact, every year, if you take 1 million, you are supposed to return 1,088,000. But people think
6% interest is 6%.
People think like all the political monies that have been sent, that maybe they are thanking them for something. So I thought, and I would still not go, but I thought that Mr. Museveni is going to be speaking about, or any president in the circumstances will be speaking about the problem that our economy is facing. Last year we were unable to pay the debts. Last year we were unable to pay interest on debts. We are processing a budget of 50 trillion shilling. 19 trillion shilling is debt payment and interest. These days government even is facing pressure. Something that the sort of pressure that we have not faced before, when they are not able to pay people's salaries on time. So the economy is bleeding. And you think a head of state addressing Parliament, he will be speaking about those very serious matters.
It was growing.
But instead, he came to tell members of Parliament that for them in a cattle corridor, for us, we are okay. You can visit us and land. Cattle corridor, more than 10 times. For cattle corridor, things are okay. If you want also to be okay, please come and visit the cattle corridor.
Some of these programs, like Entandikwa, were successful. However, I started picking complaints that they only shared among themselves. PDM and Emyoga must work, because in the past, they were blaming NADS that the army people share the resources among themselves. Now, beneficiaries must manage their affairs. Hence, the need for stakeholders like farmers, artisans to form circles for PDM and Emyoga. This is the president speaking. Let's take a commercial break, and when we come,
So which one?
when we come back, we'll pick this up.
Things never work?
Nation gets its budgeting done. MPs review and pass national budget after a thorough analysis of funds allocated to all sectors by the Ministry of Finance. Parliament examines all the revenue and revenue expenditure proposals made by the government and makes recommendations on them. Your Member of Parliament is your representative. Make your voice heard.
This message is brought to you by the Parliament of the Republic of Uganda.
Miss Uganda 2023 finale. The wait is over. 470 contestants, 21 finalists, one big stage. Who will be the next beauty queen? The battle for the crown is on. This is the most beautiful showdown, the most unpredictable competition. Miss Uganda 2023 Grand Finale on March 18th, live on Makula TV at 8 p.m. only on Star Times. Miss Uganda 2023, beauty beyond looks.
Work, work, work. Work's over. Busy biter, get down to snack business. When snacking is under attack, we'll be there to fight back.
In the heart of Arua City is an oasis of class and comfort. Welcome to Hotel Le Confidential, Aruba's hidden gem and a hub of world-class service. Hotel Le Confidential is a boutique hotel like no other. Voted Uganda's best new hotel at the Ikuka Awards 2022. Our amazing rooms come with air conditioning for internet and breakfast. Take a dip in our outdoor pool, relax at the spa, enjoy a tasty bite from our wide array of delicacies, or simply spend an incredible evening here just to wake up to the gorgeous green of Aruba and so much more. We are open 24 hours to serve you. Hotel La Confidential, a place of serenity, peace, and love.
The body of Mr. Namdi Wokeji was found at a beach house this morning.
When was the last time you saw Namdi?
At a party.
Did you notice anything strange about last night?
Are you taking money from my mother for this wedding?
You shouldn't be looking at that.
She killed my son, and I want the world to know it.
Paying your bills the old way.
Let's go, let's go. Just need to buy some power.
Paying your bills with the My Airtel app.
Bro, there's a line.
You have the power in your pocket. The power to instantly pay your bills hassle-free. Unlock that power with the My Airtel app. Visit the App Store or Google Play now.
Oh, you're back.
I'll be your star and you'll be mine. Yeah, you. Coloring worlds inside my heart. You. I'll be your light and you'll be mine. 'Cause you are my spark, ever so bright, my star.
We all live for the colorful moments. Choose the paint trusted by millions of Ugandans, and you will find that it truly is the paint that gets you. Plascon, color your world.
If you want to find class in Nairobi, look no further.
Toast to luxury. Cheers to that, baby. We run this city, period. You're more Kenyan than all other Kenyans.
Najaribu sana. Who said I'm bringing drama? I brought the change.
You brought it.
I'm here and I'm
my
very
friend's
comfortable.
party.
I am
NBS Frontline.
You're still watching NBS Frontline. The actual Frontline is happening off the air sometimes, but you see a lot of it also on the air. And we're still discussing the President's address to Parliament this afternoon. What did he say? What should he have said? What did he miss out? And part of the debate that has been happening, why didn't he go deeper into it? He said that will be discussed later. And an investigation on whether it's nature or nurture. He said we need to inquire into that.
Nature or nature, not nature or nature. No.
Nature or nurture, yes.
Yes.
That's what I said.
No, you said nature or nature.
Well, there's no difference.
Yes.
Where it is natural and when it is nurtured.
And I'm going to write
like they are doing
I want to write a scientific analysis and publish it next week in the media on that point.
I'm trying to remember.
As a scientist, nature or nurture.
Dr. Variamonse.
Are you sure?
Let me tell you.
I'm telling you.
Nature, there are people even in Ankole. We haven't gone back.
We are back. We are back.
So what were we talking about?
No, what I'm saying, I am going to answer his question. Because the scientists should tell us. And I'm going to write an analysis.
I'm trying to remember.
I don't understand.
I'm trying to remember.
Yes.
When we first had a wave of discussion about the homosexual debate, homosexuality, around 2011, 2012? 2012, 2013. The Bahati bill.
Yes.
Didn't the president then say that a team of scientists should investigate?
Yes, we did.
Did you investigate then?
We did.
And now what is he asking about another investigation?
Same thing.
What happened is that we had a discussion in Chankwanzi, and he had asked the Minister of Health and Makerere University to write a scientific paper. Honorable Dr. Vitecherezo and I, as scientists, we also wrote a scientific paper, and the two papers were presented in Chankwanzi. Actually, we persuaded him to sign. And our argument was that the homosexuality is a deviant behavior. It's not natural. It is not true that somebody is born homosexual. This is the behavior which is learned, which can be unlearned. There are some homosexual scientists who have tried to publish stories, evidence, studies done on the brains of homosexuals, studies done on twins, monozygotic twins, studies done on the fruit fly, Drosophila farinagosta, but all of them have been debunked. So there is no scientific evidence to show that somebody...
We'll get into that debate at another day.
I'm going to write a scientific paper and publish it in New
Yes, because the president commented about it, that's why I brought it up. But
so it is. So the question of nature or nurture. So the debate has been: is it in nature? Is somebody naturally born a gay, or it is nurtured in the environment? And for us as scientists, we are saying it is the environment and not the natural. So there is no, there is no genetic predisposition.
We'll find time to
discuss
this.
I think the issue
so we are saying
is that he dodged it because he had gotten the scientific guidance then in 2012,
No, he was just saying the scientists should again make a position.
But Charles,
yes,
even the scientific discourse never ends.
Never ends.
Therefore, even if the president was furnished with what was scientific in 2013, there may be new arguments.
Yeah, absolutely.
And therefore,
but for me,
he can still ask for the evidence.
Let me also say something. For me, whether what I know, at least in our Ankole,
yes,
we even have a name.
I thought you didn't want to say it on air.
No, I thought I didn't know that we had started. Even in Ankole, there we have a name for the men who, because of sexual deviancy, do those things. I remember if it was not there naturally now, because those days there was nobody who would bring it to teach it to people. But there are certain people who, like for instance, whom you call, do you know the hermaphrodite? who would have both and the scientist would see which one is more
active.
Then they would operate. I know at least of somebody where they did.
We'll have time to discuss that.
That can be there.
Even the biblical times.
Let's go back.
But
Dr.
generally, what I wanted
back.
is whether it is nurtured or nature or,
The scientists will tell
nurtured,
us.
it should be condemned 100%.
We'll go back to that later.
In this country. In this country.
Canon Kojo is still watching us from Morolinga
It's
in
a
Moroto,
sin.
and he says in
Yes,
Karamoja,
God.
no, he says first, give it 2 years, Karamoja will not be the same. And he says General Salim Saleh is heading there to lead that transformation
But
stewardship.
how can General Salim Saleh
Let me read the message.
of failed operation or circulation
Let me read the message from Canon Kojo, and then we'll debate. And he says, if
What did
Honorable
Museveni say?
Matembe has a feeling for Ugandans, let her come to Karamoja. So you have an invitation to go to Karamoja
To do what Salim Saleh do work.
to see what is going on there. He says, in Karamoja, everyone is happy
Have I
and
never
excited
been
to have
there?
received the PDM funds. Canon Kojo in Morolinga, Moroto. That people have received, the cows are the ones receiving PDM.
Cows. I thought it was like the iron ships which walked into Kasaja's.
They went to
Kasaja's home.
No, we're talking about cows, chief administrative officers. Dr. Bayumusi, let me come back to you. You're saying, yes, the president chose what he wanted to talk about.
Yes.
But these other issues that form part of the national debate are the ones that affecting earlier, other programs. I wanted to read back what the president said in regard to other programs like Entandikwa. He says, he first says, some of these programs like Entandikwa were successful. However, I started picking complaints that they only shared among themselves.
You see?
The people who received the money, I think. The people who are managing the program. PDM and Emioga must work because in the past they were blaming NADs like farmers, artisans from SACCOs for PDM and Emioga. He added, don't talk about changing the mode. This is their money. We must just advise them on how to run their SACCOs. If the money is not used this year, let us keep it so that the funds build up. Don't divert it, but keep it. Don't talk of taking it back. If they learn to use it, even new leaders will have less problems with them. People need simple sensitization, not bureaucracy. We don't need these people who are running around doing nothing. We need people who are able to convince them. Now the question is, how are you structuring this PDM arrangement that it will work different from the other programs that failed?
Thank you. Permit me to first read the message somebody insisted I should read. Mr. Katuramu Rogers from Hoima City. Because I said I didn't know the details of the woman MP's issues. And he says, and he insists I read it. He said, Honorable Asnas Nyakato of Hoima City, she's the woman MP of the city, did not inform police, yet she was expecting high political profile personnel. When she was stopped, she decided to sit on a police truck. When the police decided to park the car, she drove herself to police, and she was begging police to put her in prison until she got tired and went to sleep. This is a message from Katuramu Rogers, Hoima City. Please read it.
Is Katuramu NRM?
I don't know. I don't know him.
I even saw Nyakato
I don't know.
in a,
Okay, let me now
van,
respond.
the police van. How did she take herself to drive it?
That's a very important.
We read messages as they come in, so it's okay.
I'm reading a message.
That's a view of the person.
This side?
I don't know.
Go ahead.
Because the public has to participate in this debate.
Yeah, because I don't listen to nonsense.
Yeah.
Charles,
I
you see what the president was saying? We have had a number of programs, Entandikwa, the Youth Livelihood Scheme.
Kugumaza.
Just hold on.
I'm just
Women's
informing.
Fund, and many others. And it is true, even us as political leaders, whenever we go on the ground, the OWC, NADS, people would say, this money is benefiting you people who put on ties. They would say, NADS is sending items late. You bring seedlings and planting materials when the season is over. You even bring fake seeds and fake materials.
And that was the truth.
Now, out of those lessons, government now designed this parish development model.
Yes, Sylvia.
And one, money now comes from Ministry of Finance directly to an account opened by the parish circle. It bypasses the district, bypasses the sub-county, and it goes the circle, which is managed by the local people themselves. Number two, now people apply for this money from the circle.
Sir Chris may need to explain.
Yes.
This guy from Karamoja, he says the chief administrative officers now have the money. Chris says the money goes to the account.
Of course,
in the case of my constituency,
yes.
the money is at the municipality. They are the ones who are distributing.
No, the arrangement is like this. People have been mobilized at a parish level to form a circle. First of all, to form enterprise groups, we want to grow coffee, we want to do piggery, we want to do poultry, and then they form a circle and form a leadership of a circle. And in the leadership of the circle, they have 3 signatories. So they open an account in a commercial bank.
DFCU, my constituency.
Yes. If it is DFCU in Kanungu, we have Centenary Bank and the Post Bank and Stanbic. So any commercial bank received, it means the district receives, because the cow is the accounting office of the district. The money is not in the house of the cow. It is in the account of that parish circle.
No.
You are saying no, I am telling you, you just take notes. If
No,
you don't know,
I
you say
don't
you
have
don't
to take
know.
notes. I'm telling you what is happening
Yes.
in my constituency.
I am a minister. We have discussed
So
this.
you are the one representing
Yes.
You should even be ashamed to say you were a minister.
Don't bring ignorance here. I am telling you how PDM works.
This minister who has
No. Even these ignorant MPs, if you don't know, you say you don't know.
These
I am
ministers
speaking
who
to
are
you.
stealing
No.
Mbabati.
This program is executed by government.
Hold it a moment.
No.
Honorable
We don't
Ssemujju
want
is a
the-
member of parliament.
Yes.
You represent a constituency.
Yes.
Dr. Bariomunsi is a member of parliament and a minister, so he also represents
an
a
order
constituency.
member of parliament.
And
Tomorrow.
your experiences
Let him
might be
speak
different.
about,
So let him
no.
talk about, yes.
Yeah.
Don't pretend
He's
that
sharing
you
his
are the wisest.
No,
I am speaking to
telling
you.
you what is happening in my constituency.
No, you
He's
don't
also
even
talking
know.
about
You're not the MP.
You are just on radios. You don't even monitor on the ground.
That's how I
am
get
telling you
elected.
how
So you who is
PDM is
monitored
structured.
on the ground. Why don't you become
No.
MP for Chira municipality?
No, I am
Can we
telling
allow
you.
Doctor to make his comment?
I am telling you that the PDM in Kanungu is the same in Kampala here. That the accounts where the money goes are parish or ward, for the sake of towns, accounts which are managed by the executive of the parish circle, not the cow, not anybody else. And now, the other people who formed...
Could we allow him to make his comment, then
You know, the
we'll
problem,
make our
we want
comments.
to
Go ahead.
heckle instead of listening.
No,
Now,
you
people have
your
been...
comment must be of value.
No. Who told you what you said was of value, but we kept quiet?
But can we let
you see,
the minister make
this
his
arrogance
submission?
also must stop. You think what you say is of value, others don't have value.
Ministers
Like Matembeu says, for them they have brains, and for us we don't have.
Yours are covered. Yours have been
So,
covered.
let me explain.
You have surrendered yours.
No,
Please
okay.
allow the
You
minister.
can have your brain.
Allow
You
the
can have
minister
your
to make his
brain. We
comment.
may be
You have-
brainless.
Chris, I have no doubt
No.
you have brains, but you have surrendered them.
Okay, keep yours.
Honorable Ssemujju.
That the people at the parish level have been organized into enterprise groups. People gather and agree on what they want to do, whether tea growing or coffee growing or piggery, form the circle. And now when the money is ready, like now it's ready, they apply. You apply as a member of a household, now as an individual, to this circle. Then you are vetted by this circle, and then you get money up to 1 million. An individual can get up to 1 million shillings. But like the president said, you can get 100,000 or 200 or 500, depending on what you want to do. And then this money is repayable in 36 months at an interest rate of 6% per annum. And we did say that this money, which is 100 million shillings per year, but for so last financial year, 17 million, this year, 100 million, and every subsequent year, 100 million. And of this money, which goes the money goes the youth. 10% goes to persons with disability, 10% to the elderly, 20% to the men, the rest of the men, making 100%. So most of the parishes have now received money. What is remaining now is to now get beneficiaries applying for the money, and then they go into actual investing.
Does PDM have a timeline to assess its effectiveness?
Yes, like any program, it can be evaluated any time. But you see, what the president was saying, these are the teething challenges of starting the program. Most of the preliminary work has been done. Money now has been sent to the circles. What is now remaining is to ensure that the money now can reach the beneficiaries. And then they start engaging in the different enterprises. We are putting in place a monitoring and evaluation framework so that they are supported and then it works.
2 quick questions.
And let me also say that PDM, actually when we discuss PDM, we are talking about the financial inclusion pillar alone. But there are 6 pillars which cut across this PDM. But usually we focus on the financial inclusion. But the concept of PDM is that people in a parish should be able to mobilize themselves to look at holistically the development concerns and the welfare of the whole parish, whether it is healthcare, roads and infrastructure, electricity, safe water, governance,
two quick questions,
including this issue of financial inclusion.
We'll be continuing this discussion on the Afro mobile app. And someone called, let me see, what's the name here, says he's very proud of Honorable Matembe and says, yes, Ruben. Ruben says, very proud of you, and I should mention it to you. Two quick questions. 2 quick questions. And for our viewers,
you minister,
for our viewers,
2 questions, yes.
For our viewers, the program will continue on the Afro mobile app in a few minutes. But Dr. Bariomonse, Honorable Ssemujju says in his constituency, in Kira municipality, he has a population of 500,000 people. In his village, he has about 100,000 individuals.
In my parish?
In his parish.
Yes.
These received 21 million shillings. And you say a beneficiary can get up to 1 million shillings.
Yes.
Is this money that can really lead to transformation? And what kind of transformation?
That is a fundamental issue which we have discussed because parishes are different. Like the urban environment is different from a rural environment. And definitely it's true, his constituency is highly populated. But we said for the beginning, let's give an equal amount of money to all the parishes, whether the parish is small or heavily populated, and then we get started. Then along the way, we shall make adjustments according to the different dynamics. That is why the Honorable Ssemujju should be interested in pushing a case that for areas which are urban, maybe even the style of this PDM when we talk of enterprises may not work, because I don't think he will promote coffee growing or tea growing in works, or even piggery.
In an urban city.
What they need may be different. But for the beginning, we said we just cut across and give everything. But we are aware that as we move, we have to adjust and look at these differentials and make appropriate adjustments.
Okay.
And that's why you should be interested in how do we design the PDM for an urban area for it to be very relevant and appropriate.
Balude Kakoza says that at least the president needed to give a soothing message to Ugandans, that people expected.
On
those
what?
are the messages about soothing.
On what?
No, the message that he gave. He says, let panelists agree that even though president did not talk about the current affairs, such as the public grievances of the tainted officials, but at least the public needs to hear a healing, hopeful message of rebuilding the economy, integrating the fine riches of Uganda into the politics of this country, and involvement of all Ugandans.
But PDM is a current issue.
Mr. Fonopondo,
it's about the welfare of Ugandans, so it's an old issue.
Other programs have been attempted to cause this transformation. They haven't functioned well. And the problems that bedeviled some of those are already emerging in PDM.
Way,
how can they be cured?
It is not true they have not functioned, because these programs can be measured. Poverty levels, the population of Ugandans living below the poverty line has declined from 56% in the 90s to 20.3% today. That's one. Number two, yes. Number two, those in subsistence livelihood, in the last census, they were 68%. Now they are 39%. Number three, the Gini coefficient, which measures their population-based surveys.
I mean, those are just surveys.
Yes, what's a survey?
That are politically done.
A population-based survey. I'm talking to you now as a scientist, which measured
you carried
39.
Out. So you mean you scientists didn't know that the population census is important?
Do you know the difference between the census and the population-based survey?
Why don't we have the population census?
It is there this year on August 25th. the night of 24th reading 25th,
So
the census night.
why don't we just do surveys?
Now you don't know what you are talking about. That I can discuss with
Me what I
sophistication.
know.
I am only saying one
No,
thing.
that one I can discuss with those who know.
You trust your
Ugandans
figures.
have
Yes,
never
I
been
trust
so
them.
poor like
I
they
trust
are
them.
now.
Trust your
That's
figures.
why you have heard us say
trust Chris
those
Wariomu's
who live in
figures at your own
subsistence are
risk.
certain. No.
Well,
I used to teach demography at the university, so I know
it
this
does
subject.
not matter.
It matters.
Honorable
Is that why you are stealing him about it?
So,
I think there are sufficient data sets. There are sufficient data
You
sets
see,
and analysis.
if we
that
come
can
here
be
for an
looked at.
intellectual debate, then let it be intellectual. We are not in the Chira, just on Chimeza.
I am saying
So
I
am
don't
saying-
trust your figures.
I am
you are
saying-
supposed to carry out a population census. You didn't
No,
know.
just hold
Well,
on.
Now you are relying on
A
surveys.
population
know what a
census is
census
being
is.
planned. So let's wait
You know
for
what
that.
I'm telling you, that in the last census, the proportion of Ugandans who were in subsistence livelihood was 68%.
Okay,
Now in the last population or community-based survey done by UBOS, this figure now is 39%.
As a member of
so that
parliament,
shows,
as a
just
member of
hold on,
parliament,
that shows that these programs which are put in place, they are impact indicators which show there is progress.
Okay.
I told you what we call the Gini coefficient, which measures disparities between regions. This has fallen from 0.45 to 0.39, meaning that like northern Uganda, which was bad off, now the gap is
getting
narrowing.
closed.
So as a member of parliament, you are supposed to be
question we need
above,
to be asking,
above level.
do we see
That's
that?
why I can tell you.
The president who
Yes.
appointed you was in Busoga, and he said this is the headquarter of poverty.
So
The same president, in his State of National Address, he said 68% of Ugandans are not in the money economy.
when?
For
Then
when?
68 subsistence then at the time of 2014.
Gentlemen,
It's 2
2014 of the
years.
census.
It's
No,
2 years.
it's now 39. I'm telling
see,
you.
Honorable
These
Ssemujju,
guys don't read.
one is...
No,
You
I
don't
don't
read.
have to read.
Hold
I
it a
mean, if
moment.
you are people like Kabalio who are ministers, why do I have to read?
No.
Today you
don't
say
read.
something, tomorrow you say
Wait
another.
a moment.
You don't, these are subjects
This
I know.
debate continues on the Afro
does
mobile
not
app.
matter.
To be
If you're
schooled.
watching us
It does not
If you